Ijagbo Descendants Union, I am the next person to speak. I would have loved that I have the opportunity of protocol arrangement to be laid by my noble Lord, the Honorable the Chief Judge. But in that wise, I would say I do it in advance. That is to say, when justices of the superior courts want to read their judgment, if you are not the one who prepared the judgment, you can say, I've had the advantage of reading in draft the judgment to be delivered. So the one to be delivered by my noble Lord, the Honorable the Chief Judge, I adopt. But my Lord, please forgive me. The High Chiefs, ably led by the Honora of Ijagbo, this is not a vote of thanks, but I may not have the opportunity of saying a vote of thanks. Some other people or some other person will be asked to do that. There are so many people I would have loved to say thank you to, but just give me 1 or 2 seconds to say this. Yusuf Olaolu Ali, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, I am aware that he was not to be here today. In fact, it was because of this program that he had to reschedule his earlier engagement. I've not taken you for granted. Thank you very much for coming. We have the array of Senior Advocates of Nigeria, my very good friends from Abeokuta. Fashanu is my boy. Thank you for coming. I know why you are here. Then the Storming Petrel, Lilia Kintola, former Deputy Speaker of your State House of Assembly, who is now a Senior Advocate of Nigeria. This is not, today is not for telling stories about how you were taken inside the boot to Monete in those days, but I thank you for coming. Lai Babatunde is one of us, is the son of the soil, but I don't know, I've not seen him in a long while. Here, you're welcome. I know it means a lot to you. Former Attorney General of Kwara State, Mr. Ashaolu Titus, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. My very good friend, Adelodu, there are many of them. Professor, who is also a Senior Advocate, Wahab Egbewole, thank you for coming. It's, the problem we have is that we share the same, we are vertically challenged, both of us. We are so tall, and we say we are. Thank you. Then my partner in chambers, that's very ebullient man, Chief Akim Olatunde Afolabi, thank you. My good friend Adebayo, so many of them here. Keke Alega, yes, Keke Alega was to collect money in Ibadan this morning. But when I saw him, I said, but you told me you go and collect money. He said, no, you prefer to come here. Thank you very much. Everybody here, there are so many people. Oga Titus, Oga Ijagbo, Bangoye, it was only, I think around 4:30 yesterday that I called him. I said, well, in case you heard, so that you don't say I didn't tell, but you don't have to come. But there are ways of putting this through. Thank you for coming. I'm so grateful. The DPOs or Oyun, Oyun and Ijagbo, you're welcome. The head of the civil defense, thank you. Then my own Olapa, Olafemi Adoye, that's my cousin. He returned home about 2 weeks ago. He returned unscratched. I thank God for your life. May God continue to be with you. Yes. Well, what I'm going to do, you have given me 2 or 3 minutes. I have greeted nearly everybody. Over Bar, Ilorin Bar, I'm so grateful to you. Ibadan Bar too, I'm grateful to you. My Lord Honorable, the former Acting Chief Judge of Kwara State, Honorable Justice Ibadan, thank you. My noble Lord, Honorable Justice Isa Ayosalami. One thing that people don't know about my Lord Honorable Justice Salami is that whether during rainy season or dry season or wet season, wherever, he stands for justice. And it does not matter that you wine and dine with him. When it comes to justice, he does not compromise. I have not sought his permission, and today is not for storytelling. I'll tell you one, however. I had a matter before him in the Court of Appeal Ibadan a long time ago, I think about 25 or so years. I was with him the previous evening. Then I appeared in the Court of Appeal. I saw him on the panel. Well, it's okay. I knew that he would not be, if he was not for me, he won't be against me, he will be neutral. But this time, it will appear that his perception of my case would not go down well with him, and it didn't. As soon as I adopted my brief, he said, Mr. Fagbemi, your client is a thief. I said, Madam, you have not read I need to adumbrate, and usually after your brief, you are allowed about 30 minutes or so to do the adumbration. He said, it's a thief. I said, my Lord, it's not a thief, and just give me 1 or 2 minutes, I will convince. He said, okay. Then one of the members of the panel, but the privilege or the luck that I had was that I was happy that he was not the one presiding. The person presiding now, maybe out of omission or commission, just said, well, Mr. Fagbemi, that's just his scholar of blessed memory. He said he had not read the brief. At that stage, I said I was asking for an adjournment. And they said, no, you have adopted your brief, nothing else. If you read the order, then order 6. I can't remember the rule now. He said it postulates that, or the assumption is that you would have read the brief before coming. I said, well, but I've rebutted it because the confession of one of you was that he had not read it. After going back and forth, again, I thank God he was not the one presiding. The presiding justice said, and I said, look, everybody here, I heard when you said you had not read it. On that score, I was given an adjournment. The next time, he was the one presiding. I had asked. He said he was the one presiding. What I did was to try and do an amendment. He saw through it. When we got there, he was telling the Ministry of Justice that he had read it. There was nothing in that application. But the ministry was jittery. They said, no, they needed that. I said, my Lord, they said they needed time. You have to decide. They said they need time and they are entitled to it. He said, no, ministry, do you still want to oppose it? He said, no, they will want to take their time. He said, put the pen down. He adjourned it. The next time, again, he was there. He was presiding. I got it wrong in taking these dates. Somehow, the matter was adjourned again. I think about the 4th time, he was not the one presiding. But I was very lucky. There is now the immediate past ambassador to the United States, Nsofo, because Nsofo was there. So when they gave me judgment, I immediately adopted the brief when I saw that he was not there. And all this while, after the court session, we will still see, we will talk, but not on the case. So when I got judgment, and my client was asked to go and collect all that the police had seized from him, I went after the Commissioner of Police very seriously, and those things were released. The Ministry of Justice was not happy, so they wrote a petition against me to the then presiding justice, Honorable Justice Aloma, who was in Ibadan then, before she became the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So what I did, and this is very important, and I went to my Lord Honorable Justice Alami. He said, my Lord, the court ordered that the property of this man should be released to him forthwith. And I've just gone to Bishop the bookshops to buy a copy of Oxford dictionary. He said, a massive no number to shop forthwith. Immediately in the bound. Among Mr. Can you imagine? He rescued me. That was because he believed that the justice of the matter then required that he should be on my side. And I tell people, if you have a case, all you have to do is master it very well and also pray for good luck. Baba. Yes, I crave your indulgence to stand on existing protocol, and I said, first, before anything else, observed everyone who has found time to attend this historic event in this very historic town on a very historic day such as this. I am highly elated to host some of the most polished heads of the legal profession here in Ijagbo today. I am particularly pleased to have this invaluable opportunity to speak with sons and daughters, descendants, and well-meaning individuals who are directly connected to Ijagbo. This is because it is because of ingrates that God created remembrance. In Yoruba, they will say, "Nítorí aláìmoore la fi dá ìrègùn," and I acknowledge and I reference my very good friend, Niyi Akintola. That is what he normally says, and I find great wisdom in it. The Ijagbo community remains thankful to Honorable Justice Joseph Olagbadeyan, retired former acting chief judge of Kwara State, and now Ààrẹ Yegunle, Kwara State. It was Justice Gbadeyan that God used for the approval and establishment of this magistrate court in Ijagbo. On behalf of Kabiyesi, the Ijagbo of Ijagbo, and the entire Ijagbo community, I say a big thank you, my Lord. History of Ijagbo will forever be kind to you. Most importantly, to our former governor and former Senate President, Senator Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, who on the 26th of May 2011, as the executive governor of this state, commissioned this building. We say a very big thank you. Your Excellency, the people of Ijagbo wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Most importantly, my sincere appreciation goes to Sulaiman Durosilon Kawu, the Honorable the Chief Judge of Kwara State. My noble Lord, I cannot thank you enough for the success of today's event. The Honorable the Chief Judge constantly monitors the progress of work on this, through my indefatigable sister, the Chief Registrar, Mrs. Ibijoke Olabisi Olawoyin, despite his ever busy schedule. The Honorable Chief Judge insisted that same must be done up to standard. His Lordship remained undeterred despite the fact that today's event had to be postponed on 2 different occasions. The position of my Lord was that if the postponements were done in the interest of a befitting outcome, then he had no problem with it. My Lord, my noble Lord, the Chief Judge, my noble Lord remains one of the humblest jurists I have known or come to know. For want of more befitting superlative adjectives to describe the love of my noble Lord for this town and in appreciation of same, let me just simply say that the generality of Ijagbo people express our profound gratitude to your Lordship, and we pray that Almighty Allah will continue to guide and guard your Lordship in everything that you do. Amen. Like Oliver Twist, however, my Lord, now that we have a very befitting magistrate court building, the people of Ijagbo hereby humbly plead that the court be made the post of everyone in the Kwara magistracy in its activities. The court is now more than prepared to do justice to more cases, both in quantity and in quality of the cases to be assigned to the court. This, we believe, is another way of helping to boost the social and economic activities in the town. Bigger and more complex cases within its jurisdictional competence can be conveniently handled in this court now. I so submit my noble Lord. To make the work of the court seamless, I have perfected plans to make the court functional with provision of interrupted power supply. I have made provision for the befitting generator that can conveniently power all electrical appliances in the court. This is the surest source of power. Thank you. This is the surest source of power that I can think of, as power supply from NEPA or IDEC is now an alternative and not the main source of power any longer. Additionally, there is an arrangement for a constant supply of fuel for the generator and periodic servicing of same. To this end, I have deposited a sum of 500,000 naira with a filling station called Team T's petrol station near Oyun River Bridge, Ijagbo, for fuel to be supplied at this court, to this court. On a standing instruction, the registrar of the court shall authorize the supply of the required quantity of petrol at the need as and when needed. Without hassle, I shall inshallah continue to replenish the money as at when due, that is to say, before the current deposit of 500,000 naira gets exhausted. This is in addition to the agreement for me to always pay the monthly electricity bill of the court. This I will do, inshallah, through the Olora of Ijagbo. Back to the town of Ijagbo, one very important quote that resonates with me and that serves as a guiding factor to many of my actions is drawn from Otto von Bismarck, one of the most significant political figures of modern Germany, where he said, quote, "The main thing is to make history, not to write it," unquote. Ijagbo has, in the last few years, grown immeasurably in leaps and bounds. The unprecedented growth is not unconnected to the fact that its natives have decided to take into their hands the responsibilities of making it more habitable haven for us, for our children, and for our relatives, and for tourists alike. A good look at landmark areas within Ijagbo will show fast-moving constructions of ultramodern edifices littered all around the town. Delighted as I am, however, the multi-million-dollar question is, are we doing enough? If that is left to me to answer, I will answer in the negative. That is to say, I will say no. I think we must come to terms with the fact that after long years of hustling, bustling, and trying to earn a legitimate living outside the shores of Ijagbo, we all come back home to point to Ijagbo as our resting place. We therefore must accord Ijagbo the respect and luxury deserving of our resting place. Similarly, we must all come to terms with the unpleasant reality of the time. The government cannot do it alone in terms of provision of infrastructure. With constant increase in population, needs and demands from government, it is clear that the government's resources, no matter how stretched, cannot cater for all our needs. We must, therefore, be ready to assist the government in providing some of these good things of life. At any rate, we, that is our community, will build the better for our collective efforts. For the continuous development of Ijagbo, we must realize that we cannot do enough. We must do more. Most times, when I think of the dominant advantage God has bestowed on Ijagbo, I'm always moved to say Alhamdulillah, which literally means I thank God. No doubt, with the increase in economic and social activities being witnessed in Ijagbo, the need for a befitting dispute resolution mechanism has become much more pronounced than ever. It is, therefore, my sincere hope that from this humble beginning of a magistrate court, our beloved town will in no time be blessed with a much higher court and sundry facilities. Today, on the occasion of the recommissioning of the Magistrate Court building, I wish to reiterate that by the grace of Almighty Allah, this will be just another one of many other projects to come, especially in the line of development of the legal profession in Ijagbo. I cannot end this speech without acknowledging the efforts and unflinching support of some individuals. In fact, I believe that their chief, as the Igbos would say, that is their God, will not forgive me if I neglect to publicly thank them today. First, Engineer Lateef Adebisi Abefeogbo Oyedeji, Sobaloro of Ijagbo. My personal friend of over 40 years deserves a special mention and recognition today. He has personally supervised this project without requesting for a dime in return. Notwithstanding falling ill for about 2 months while the project was in progress, engineer, as is fondly called, kept on directing and supervising the project from his hospital bed in Abuja. Upon his discharge from the hospital, he, instead of going back home, proceeded straight to Ijagbo to continue with the supervision of the project. He has been in Ijagbo ever since, and that to me was his height of sacrificial loyalty, and I shall forever be indebted to you. Thank you. Next is Alhaji Mudashir Ajiboye, Ilefemiloye, the Olora Ijagbo and head of Kingmakers of Ijagbo. The Olora was visiting here almost on daily basis to make sure work was ongoing at the required speed. He also went to the extent of doling out stipends to some of the workmen just to motivate them further in making sure that they deliver on time. No doubt his daily trips to the site helped us to abate the usual workmen nuisance that is synonymous with projects like this. With the Olora physically on ground, the artisans were on their toes and work progressed as scheduled. Olora, I am immensely grateful. The efforts of Alhaji Barrister Sulaiman Ayodele Tejumola Sat, Fagbemi, as you know, my own elder brother, with whom I am well pleased, must not go unacknowledged today. Even though I may get away with not publicly acknowledging his immense contributions toward the success of today's event, I'm preferring to say my thanks to you at the family level. A part of me will not forgive such an omission because that will amount to an act of sheer ingratitude. Alhaji Sulaiman, it was who ensured that the boundaries of the court building was well carved out and settled with the powers that be. He did not stop there. Like those I earlier mentioned, he also made it a point of duty to be monitoring the progress of work by paying periodic visits to the site. Aremo, I thank you profusely. The last but not the least is Chief Tunde Agbola Oyawoye, a former secretary to the government of Kwara State, the Ijagbo of Ijagbo and President, Ijagbo Descendants Union, for his moral support all the time. Chief Agbola is renowned for always encouraging those coming behind him to be the best and contribute to their community. Sir, may the good Lord continue to be with you in all that you do. This is not part of me. There is somebody called Janet. Honestly, Janet, please come. I'm sorry, my lords. You see this, well, to us is a girl, even though we have sold her out. But she's always ever willing, ready to work. We've been here, I think, since the day before yesterday when I called. It was only about 3 days ago I called. I said, where are you? She was in Lagos. I said, well, we're doing so thing and you have to be here. She got here midnight. And after that, as soon as she came, She went and dropped the luggage. The father is there. The father is Akogun. That's Chief Ologude. She's a chief of the whole block. If we have many of this lady, we won't have any problem. She's a lawyer. When she came, people were looking at her. She was directing the artisan and everybody, and she won't compromise. That's the thing. You know, tẹ́lẹ̀ ìfẹ́ lè ju àṣà wa múra sí ni gbà tó bá sọ ni o bó ti wù kó lè le tó gbà tó bá sọ ni, not for anything, not for anything. She won't ask for anything, and as soon as we finish, she goes back. God bless you. Thank you. I must also use this medium to appreciate very profusely those of us who have, before now, made it a point of duty to invest in the positive enhancement of our home, Ijagbo. It is my supplication that Almighty Allah blesses you, blesses your home, and causes your purse to overflow. Distinguished, my very noble Lord, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming, and I wish you a pleasant remainder of the day.